Welcome back to the CryptoLabs YouTube channel. We're going to talk about something more maybe on the extreme end of things. By the way, I'm traveling in Nashville, no camera, no mic, so hopefully the audio is clear. But this was really important. We wanted to share this. People pop out of range and they run away from the position. They're like, oh, my life is over. Or volume drops and they go chasing the next big thing. And we talk a lot about positioning. So although Colin's going to be sharing one of his positions, it's a very small position. We don't want to make it about, don't just copy what we're going to show you. This is a real life example of something. What's it earning per month right now for you? Like 40, 50?
Yeah, and like about 50 to 60% a month right now on average
50
last
to
couple of weeks.
60% a month.
Yep.
Now, 100% of your portfolio shouldn't be what we're about to show you. In fact, it should be a small percentage of your portfolio. And it's not even about that. It's this thing goes out of range. I think it's out of range for you right now.
It is. Yep.
It pops back into range. And although the projected returns might be 120, 150, 180%, you're not always going to be in range in the volume shift. But if you're making 40, 50, 60% a month on something, and you've been in this for what, like 3 months or something?
3 months.
Yeah. So you've probably used the velocity of money to your advantage. You already made back your initial and more, and now you are risk free. And if you wanted to move that initial, and we talk about the velocity of money a lot, so I'll let Colin kind of take the mic and talk about the position and talk about the strategy. And please, anyone watching, don't make it about this exact position. Just apply this into any position that you're bullish on or that you see potential with.
Absolutely. Look, I talk about that a lot in the UIG is like, when I'm talking about a position or something, use the fundamentals, use the principles of what I'm talking about to apply it to whatever you're doing. Because you might see this on YouTube in 3 weeks and things might change. And so understanding that what I talk about today, extract the principles from it and then apply it to what you're doing in your portfolio. But yeah, I've been a neon and SOL position for some time. And what I really wanted to highlight today, and I'll share my screen here in a sec, but what I wanted to really highlight is that volume fluctuates. And remember that we're earning the fees that users are paying when they're swapping those assets back and forth. So whenever someone goes to Orca and they swap Neon for Sol or Sol for Neon, they pay a small fee. That fee then comes to me as a liquidity provider. And so that volume of swapping is going to fluctuate drastically. It really is, especially because this is a smaller pool. When we're looking at liquidity size, this is on the smaller end, and we're looking at the market cap of Neon, one of the assets. It's a very small, a micro cap, a small cap asset. And so understanding that impacts the volumes, it impacts a lot of other things. Not to go down that rabbit hole, but just understand things move. Yeah, things move drastically. What I really wanted to highlight, though, was being in position and remaining patient. I'll give you an example. I've been in this Neon and SOL position here for some time now, and volume had dropped. Last week dropped very significantly to a point where I was thinking to myself, should I exit this? Because there's a lot of volume. People are in the community are talking about 1% a day over here, and there's a lot of volume over here. And I was thinking to myself, should I exit this? Should I exit this position and move it to where volume is? Chase the volume in a sense, right? And I think it's a valuable thing to think about. But I also said, you know what? I'm still in range. This thing is still producing cash flow for me. I'm going to stay here for a bit. And I looked, was it maybe yesterday or the day before, and I said, whoa, volume came flooding back. And now I earned, I think it was like 12% in the last 2 days, 12% last 2 days. That means 6% a day on this small position. So I'll share my screen, Lucas, because I think it's valuable to actually kind of see how things are fluctuating. And you're right, I'm out of range very slightly. If I click this, I'm just barely, I'm back in range. So now you can see that it kind of goes in and out. But look at this, 330, this is projected. Yeah, but 330%, and this is on a 30-day yield. So I like to look at things on a monthly basis, not daily. And APR sometimes it's too wide. So I like to look at the monthly on average. But I've been in these two positions here, Neon SOL and Neon USDC. Yeah. And look at that, 330% on average. For me, actual results have been around 50 to 60% a month. So about 1 to 2% a day in returns here. And this, I actually claimed this morning.
Anyone watching that means like there's times where he's out of range. There's times where the volume drops. On average, 50 to 60% a month. Now, this is a really extreme example, and I don't recommend actually anyone getting into this, which is why this is such a small positions. Like, it's not like Colin's got like freaking 100 grand in here. Yeah. But the point is, 6%, 5%, 2%, 1% per day is ridiculous. But the concept behind it remains true: is you stayed in it, you kept this position open, because you understand Neon, you understand Sol, you understand it's a higher risk, higher APY pool. But if you're risk free on it, which is the velocity of money, a strategy I highly recommend for people.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah. Just a few things too, Lucas. Like I claimed this morning. So this was produced.
Wow.
What is it? That's over 10% today already. It's been not even been like, it's crazy. But what I'm really trying to highlight here is that I didn't rush into this because I saw the volume. I was in position for allowing this to do it. So I think it's really important to find assets that you like, study the charts, study, like that's why we have the OIG. It's why we have the community, so that we can all kind of mastermind and we put our heads together to figure out, hey, where are the positions that I would want to get into position for, so that when volume comes in, I'm in position to be able to handle it. One of the things I talk about in the OIG too, I try to tell people not to do this as much, is don't jump around. Don't jump around and try to chase the returns, because every single time we swap one asset for another, you're locking in losses, or you're locking in, I mean, you could be taking profit too, right? But so if I'm swapping Arrow to Sol to Optimism to ETH, and I'm keep swapping those assets, I'm locking in those potential losses every single time. So that's why I like to nice and calm and steady, and I like to look at things on a monthly basis. I don't change things every single day. I like to stay in range, stay in position, so that when volume floods back in, boom, I'm there to capture. This is outlier. This is an outlier.
This is a 10% in the last, like, this is not
hours.
Typical in any way, shape, or form. But I think it's such a great extreme learning example that this is also applicable on the micro. Is you may have more blue chip positions with wider ranges, and it's like, stay in it. Now, again, you're gonna have to make decisions. We have our entry exit criteria. I'll link videos that go deeper into it, but I'm just saying, I think this is a very extreme example, but it's a great example that highlights at the very thing we talk about daily.
Yep. One of the biggest rules that I have is for myself personally, and I like to share in the UIG as well. It's just, I'm not going to leave a pool if the only thing that's bad or wrong is that the volume has dropped. If the only thing, now there has to be other things. It has to be the trend. It has to be price action. It has to be something else. But if it's just the volume is down, I'm not going to exit that pool and go chase returns. I'm going to stay in position because everything else is solid. That Neon and Sol, nothing had changed. And so that's why I stayed in that pool. And here he comes. The flood of volume has come back. There we go. 12%.
It usually does come back, at least from my experience, unless something fundamentally changes. It's like, it's kind of like these little trends that whatever's talked about on Twitter or YouTube or whatever is picking up a little bit of, it's super interesting. So I agree. Volume, don't let it be the only thing. Unless maybe you have very little capital and you're trying to make the most use out of your small amount of capital, then there can be a reason for it. But for the most part, volume comes back.
Absolutely.
So good. I'll leave some videos that I think will go well with this video. Maybe we'll leave the entry criteria. There is a free course that we offer. It's completely free, no strings attached, that dives into entry, exits, some of the criteria we look at. There's a great video, Colin, you did it on if this, like, should I think the title of the video was titled something like if this, then that or something. But anyways, if this happens, should I exit? How should I think about my position if things change? We'll leave those videos around here. Check them out, study up for an hour or two. This channel is free. Study, like actually apply yourself. Yes. Don't just be a little squirrel brain that needs a little dopamine hit. Like, study. It's the depth of practice. So go deep. And with that said, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, C.